Tonight from Clemson, South Carolina, a little Palmetto State clash in the midweek with the Clemson Tigers hosting the Winthrop Eagles out of the Big South Conference. Hi everyone, Kendall Lewis alongside the Hall of Famer Scott Whitlock here with you on ACC Network Extra tonight. Glad you're tuning in with us tonight. This should be a fun midweek clash. It's Winthrop's last game before they start Big South play this weekend against Presbyterian. Just took 4 of 5 in the Winthrop Invitational this weekend. For Clemson, however, 2 of 3 against a very good Georgia Tech team. Now for the Eagles, one of the top hitting teams in the Big South Conference, Darren Nickens has got all the power and the speed for the Eagles.
Nickens brings a lot of offense to the plate. Power, average, anything you want to talk about. This entire Winthrop Eagles lineup has a lot of power and scoring in it. If you're the pitching staff for Clemson tonight, you better be ready to go.
No doubt about it. And on the other side for the Tigers, through 24 games, Marion Collins, how about 10 extra base hits?
Yes, she's a sophomore. Her game is getting better all the time. A lot of the things that are getting better for her are things that you don't see in a statistic. Her leadership, her comfort, getting to play the same position every day. All of these things is going to make her very, very important, not only to this season, but to this program over the next 2.5 years.
Let's take a look at the Winthrop Eagles starting lineup tonight. How about the third baseman, Peyton Bryden, who's been really good. We mentioned this Winthrop Eagles team, Scott. They've got power and speed. Tia Beckham, the DP tonight for the Eagles, is a problem in that lineup as well.
Absolutely, and they've got a good-looking freshman prospect in Amos leading off. It's led off for them all season, I believe.
Kira Crosby, the freshman from Texas, getting the start for the Tigers tonight. You look at 22 innings pitched, a 2.86 ERA. And second pitch misses inside. So a 2-0 count to start on the leadoff hitter. Rebecca Amos, freshman at 381 this year, has been the leadoff hitter in the Eagles order for the entire season. Hot start to her college career. As we get going, temperatures in the upper 70s here at first pitch.
It is very pleasant this evening. You and I are stationed perfectly. We're enjoying the warmth, but we're out of the sun. 3-0 count is not where you want to live.
And there it is, called strike from Kira Crosby. Oh, Amos coming off a 3-hit game against Bucknell is second on the team in runs with 23 this year for the Eagles. And a walk to start things off.
That's not what you want to do. If you look at the numbers, Winthrop scores a lot of runs in the first, a lot of runs in the second, and a lot of runs in the fifth. That tells me that the first time through, either the pitchers have not been settled or Winthrop comes out raring to go. And then the fifth inning generally is the start of usually the start of the third time through in a typical game. Now, if you got somebody throwing a no-hitter, I mean, it's a little bit different. But right now, Hicks is going out there to talk to her and just try to find out, okay, what do we got to do to get you comfortable out here? She's thrown 6 pitches and 5 of them have been balls.
And Scott, how tough are these midweek games, especially with the way that Clemson lost their last game against Georgia Tech this weekend?
It's a challenge. You got to clear the fog. You got to flush it and be ready to go. And be ready to go tonight. The only game that you have is tonight's game. You can't do anything about Sunday night's game. You can't do anything about Friday night's game coming up. It's tonight's game.
Bryden check swing. This one's upstairs. Peyton Bryden, we mentioned, she's got some power. Tied with Nickens, 6 homers this year. And they're both tied for second in the Big South through 25 games. Bryden lifts this one out into left field. And Kylie Johnson's got a beat on it for the first out here to start the game.
Very routine fly ball to Johnson for the first out. We saw over the weekend some outstanding defense by the Clemson outfielders. They don't get enough credit but they made some sensational plays, and particularly in the no-hit ball game we watched.
And here's Nickens, who we highlighted in the open, fouls the first one back. And Nickens, 6 homers this year. Incredible, the junior. She, with her second season with the Eagles, a JUCO product, played at Lewisburg College in North Carolina. They had some really good teams while she was there. And a called strike on the outer edge.
They've had good programs for a lot of years up there. But this hitter's numbers just jump right out at you. You hit over 400, you're among the leaders in RBIs and home runs. Yeah, you better pay attention to this one.
0-2 from Crosby. Nickens connects, lifts it into foul territory. And our count will stay at 0-2 on Darren Nickens, one of the top hitters in the Big South Conference.
Right there was one of those little Bermuda triangles that are on baseball diamonds where it fell between 3 players, but it was nobody's fault.
Runner goes, throw high, and a stolen base for Rebecca Amos. That is her 11th stolen base of the season for the Eagles. Let's take a second look.
The throw was a little high, and I think a good throw gets her. But it's a stolen base, nonetheless.
A runner in scoring position for Winthrop here in the top half of the first inning.
And there's an adage, people probably get so tired of me talking about it, but leadoff walks always find a way to score, it seems.
Nickens grounds this one up the middle, through the legs of the second baseman in Collins. And scoring from second is the freshman who led things off, Rebecca Amos. And Winthrop is on the board in the top of the first.
That right there is your textbook E4. The ball went right between her legs.
A little bit of a rough start here for Clemson. 1 out in the top of the first. Winthrop on the board. And at the plate now is Tia Beckham, who we mentioned, the designated player for the Eagles, who come in with 14 wins. She's a Greenville, South Carolina product.
So you know she'd like to do some damage tonight.
And Winthrop 0-6 all-time against the Tigers. However, this is a Winthrop program. They've had a lot of success in the Big South Conference over the years. And Kendall Fuller, you see right there, the head coach on your screen, has done a really nice job. She's in her second stint in Rock Hill, South Carolina.
Yeah, she worked as an associate head coach for the legendary Mark Cook. Mark Cook was the head softball coach at Winthrop for many, many, many years. We lost Mark not so long ago, but he was such a great ambassador for the game.
Crosby's going to step off. A freshman in the circle walked Amos to begin the game. And an error for the Tigers if you're just tuning in with us on ACC Network Extra. Kendall Fuller, we mentioned second stint with the Winthrop Eagles. She really feels like they can do some damage this year in the Big South. Swing and a whiff.
Well, she did a lot of good work at Lees McRae, kind of reinvigorating that program. And then she got the call home back to Winthrop. If you look right here, she swings right under a rise ball on the outside part of the plate. 2 down now.
Grayson Buckner, the shortstop, takes a look at the first offering from Crosby. That was a big bounce back strikeout from Kira Crosby, who walked the first batter faced. And the senior Grayson Buckner, who hits .284, has started all 25 games for the Eagles. At the plate now.
To show you, just to give you a contrasting example, I'll get into it after this pitch unless it's in play.
Here comes the 2-0. It's in there for a called strike.
In the no-hitter that was thrown against Georgia Tech, the strike zone was pounded and pounded and pounded and pounded.
This one laced out into left field for a base knock, and it will keep the top half of the first alive for the Eagles.
And there's a great example. What the point I was going to make is when you're pitching from behind, as you see this replay, the hitter is going to have a great chance to get part of the bat on the ball. You've got to pitch ahead if you expect to have long-term success out there on the mound. And 2-0 is not where you want to live.
Annalisa Weinbarger is at the plate. She's a junior. Just 8 hits this year. She's got a cannon, though, behind the dish. You'll see that on display tonight. Has thrown out 4 runners attempting to steal this year for the Winthrop Eagles. Count 2-0. Winthrop 1 run, 1 hit, and an error on Marion Collins here in this top half of the first. Off speed, it's there.
We cursed her by bragging on her in the intro. And then the ball goes right between her legs. We know she's a good player.
High and away.
And you got to be really careful here. A mistake here and you can be down 4-0.
3 balls and 1 strike on Annalisa Weinbarger, the junior. Crosby delivers, and we are full.
The runners will be going.
Full count, 2 outs, top half of the first. And runners at first and second for the Eagles. This one swung on, it's lifted. Drifting down the line in right field, and the catch made by Pipkins. That'll do it for the top half. 1 hit, 1 run for the Eagles. They lead it 1-0. Tonight, Pavesi's been really good. This Tigers team, they've totaled 170 hits on the year, and some younger talent getting it done this year, Coach.
A lot of good freshmen and sophomores on this Clemson team. But right here, the leadoff batter, Brockenbrough, is the senior transfer who came in a year ago from Tennessee and has really done a great job for the Tigers since arriving into town out there in center field. And she's also a very patient leadoff hitter.
Senior lays down a bunt. Beautifully executed, and Brockenbrough is aboard here in the bottom half of the first inning.
That right there was just almost textbook, right? If the ball would have rolled like maybe 2 feet farther, that would have been the most perfect bunt I've ever seen.
Couldn't have walked out there and placed it any better.
That was
right,
such a great bunt.
Kendall Lewis, Scott Whitlock here with you on ACC Network Extra. The starting pitcher tonight for Winthrop, Emmy Cardenas. It's been interesting with Cardenas, the second most starts with 9, and just returned from injury a week before the season. This one hit deep in the hole, long throw, it's in time. Grayson Buckner with the backhand glove and throw for the first out of the bottom half of the first.
And more importantly, she made a great choice. She had no chance of getting Brockenbrough, and she knew it, so she went ahead and got an out. But now I will say this, that right there was a productive out by Chanel. I mean, I know that goes as a 6-3, but that's almost as good. Well, it is as good as the sacrifice bunt.
No question.
And here's the rookie that everybody likes.
Brockenbrough in scoring position. Pavesi, the freshman, batting .373 with 22 RBI this year.
And she has moments where she displays great power. She hit a home run down at the University of Georgia in the Clemson win that they'll be talking about for a long time.
Takes a look at the 1-1 upstairs. Yeah, Pavesi leads this team with 22 RBI. Talk about bursting onto the scene of her college career.
Well, almost unanimously, no matter who you talk to, she was the top 5 recruit in the country.
Yeah.
And she is an outstanding softball player. As you see my buddy Johnny Ballgame down there in the box. Always thinking.
3-1, and it's high. Ball 4, and Cardenas walks Pavesi. Runners at first and second.
I don't think she wanted much to do with her, do you? She was very careful pitching to her.
Yeah, Pavesi has, as you mentioned, no matter what poll you looked at, was a top 5, top 10 recruit in the country. Great pickup for the Tigers. She's off to a great start. Runners at first and second. First pitch to Collins, a called strike.
And you know she'd like to do something productive after having that ball booted in the first inning.
Collins on the All-ACC freshman team, as you just saw last year. And she has been incredible this year as well. Collins, crucial in their success last year. I think it's interesting, she transitioned to second and third base this year. Been in that 3, 4, 5 spot in the lineup for the Tigers.
Well, with the emergence of Bro and Chanel, she's had a chance, Collins has had a chance to settle in at second base now. Her third base starts were earlier in the year.
2-1 swung on, it's lifted foul down the left side.
Made it all the way down to the visiting bullpen.
What a beautiful night for college softball. Temperatures in the 70s. Winthrop making the trip from a little over 2 hours from Rock Hill, South Carolina. 2-2. Swung on, this one grounded to short. They make the play at second. Does Buckner to Pearson. They get 1, 2 outs, but runners on the corners now.
The good news is the runner advanced to second. The bad news is that was the second out. Rather pedestrian turn there at second base. Allowed Collins to reach, who does run well. So you've got people that run very well on the bases, and you've got a hitter that is really trying to get going this year, who had a huge year last year in the junior, Julia Noller. This is a very, very good softball player that's just right now is just caught in a slump like you just wouldn't believe.
Swing to the first pitch, it's fouled back. Yeah, Noller hitting 197, but a 383 on base percentage.
She is an excellent softball player. There's nothing missing from her offensive game. It's just right now she's just not seeing it enough to drive it consistently.
Cardenas misfires on the 0-1, and we're evened up. Ball and a strike on Noller, who, as Scott just mentioned, trying to get going for the Tigers. They need her as they navigate this tough ACC schedule. We mentioned the Tigers taking 2 of 3 against a good Georgia Tech team over the weekend. Heartbreaking loss in that final game. Count 2-1. Just inside.
If you're the pitcher, you'd better be patient here and be very careful. And if you're Noller, just stay within yourself and do what you can do. Don't try to hit a 5-run homer.
And we're full again.
Well, we know Collins will be running at first base.
We mentioned that Cardenas, who is in the circle tonight for the Winthrop Eagles, they just got her back a week before the season began. Coach Fuller says she is starting to get into groove. Base hit up the middle, and it's an RBI that knocks the game up at 1.
And that's a big knock for Julia Noller and for the Clemson Tigers. Evens up the game, but more importantly, she's standing out there right now on first base knowing she had a solid base hit to tie the game up. And she needs any kind of little just encouragements that she can find, and there's one right there.
Runners still on the corners. And we are tied up at 1 apiece. First pitch low and away to Corey Hicks, the catcher.
And she was a hero here on Saturday. She hit the walk-off home run to finish up the no-hitter.
Swings at this one, connects deep into foul territory.
She transferred in here from University of Oklahoma, native of California. She had she was caught in a log jam behind the plate at Oklahoma. And so she decided to come somewhere where she could play every day.
She's got 16 RBI on the year, trying to give the Tigers their first lead of the night here in the bottom of the first inning. After an RBI single by Julia Noller just a moment ago. Two-one, it's low.
3-1 count. Bro is on deck.
Things getting interesting here in the bottom of the first inning with runners on the corners. And outer half called a strike.
You can afford to take that pitch with 1 strike, but with 2 strikes, you got to guard the plate. That was a very good pitch on the outside part of the plate.
We're full with 2 outs. This one lifted deep. Left center field. It's gone.
You cannot make that mistake with Corey Hicks.
Corey Hicks. Home run ball number 5 on the season for the sophomore.
And there's at least one youngster out on the berm that is extremely excited because the ball was hit out there among them. And she just trots around, and just like that, it's 4-1.
How about that by the Tigers? Oh, and look, they're going to go to the ATM machine. This Tigers team going to sign the $100 bill and make a deposit.
Tell you what, this is one of the more clever things they do in the dugout. Around the, this is a trend around the country now. Everybody has some type of celebration.
That's a backbreaker if you're the Winthrop Eagles.
Yeah, you get a 1-run lead, you want to come out and have a shutdown inning.
Giving up the 4 runs with 2 outs here in the bottom of the first inning. And Edge called the strike. And how about this response for Clemson? We mentioned, how would they respond off the loss from Sunday? And a big 4-run bottom of the first inning on 3 hits.
Yes. And you and I have talked off air. I'm a big fan of Sarah Bro. She was highly recruited, great defender, and as soon as she puts it all together offensively, she's going to put up some big numbers.
And outside, ball 4.
What I've noticed about Bro is that she just comes to work every day. She brings a lunch pail and she shows up and she works.
No question. And we're approaching the bottom half of this order with Kylie Johnson. Bro takes her base. Johnson, the junior, hitting in the 8th spot for the Tigers tonight.
Had one of the most memorable home runs in the history of Clemson softball a year ago in the ACC championships.
Cardenas fires, and Johnson lifts it foul into foul territory. So falls behind 0-2 to Emmy Cardenas for Winthrop. We mentioned the Eagles just got back a week before the season started. She's had her ups and downs. And trying to get Johnson to chase.
Well, right now, she's trying just to get out of this inning somehow and get back in that dugout and regroup. You can tell that home run has affected her. Her body language Just about everything you see, Kendall, has been affected by that home run ball.
3-run homer from Corey Hicks made this game 4-1. 2-2 count, 2 outs. And this one in the dirt.
That either slipped or she was trying to pick up a spare. I couldn't tell. Yeah. But that ball was in the dirt when it crossed the batter's box.
Johnson's going to take her base. We've got runners at first and second now.
And they've batted around.
With Taylor Pipkins, the right fielder, coming to the plate for the Tigers. Takes a look at the first offering. Pipkins, Georgia product, was part of that. The ACC tournament MVP and the Tigers championship run a season ago. Scott, you and I were talking about this, that for a program that's just 7 years old, the amount of success that the Tigers have had since starting the softball program, incredible.
That is a double-edged sword, though. When they jumped out so good, so quick, the bar was established so high that now, you know, there are certain expectations, whether they're warranted or not, that come with being a player on this ball club. I mean, there's some really, really, really good players that have already been through here that you're trying to live up to or you're trying to carry on if you're a player. And there's the guy that was the architect of it all, my buddy John Rittman.
Coach Rittman, incredible. Look at his resume. He was the right guy. And this one lifted out into center field. And Robertson makes the catch. A 3-run homer for Corey Hicks and the Clemson Tigers. They lead it 4-1 after the first here in Clemson, South Carolina. Her, as we mentioned, was at Winthrop from 2015 to 2017. Did some really good things at Lees McRae. As Coach Whitlock, you mentioned her experience with Mark Cook earlier in the broadcast, and her 5th season total in Rock Hill, South Carolina. I think this program here could be a handful come Big South play. They begin their conference slate this weekend against Presbyterian.
Well, to use one of the words that you newfangled statistician type people to use, this program is definitely trending upward.
Yeah, they played a handful of Power 4 programs already this season, as the first pitch from Crosby swung on and missed.
And don't you think that Crosby knows now? You take a deep breath, you kind of, you know, you got a 3-run lead now. You want to have a shutdown inning right here. You want to pour strikes in.
Back-to-back strikes from Kira Crosby. This is 7, 8, 9 in the Eagles order. Carly Pearson, Tabitha Perry, and Emma Robertson, the center fielder, due up for Winthrop here in the top of the 2nd inning. This one grounded, chopped to third base, and throw made in plenty of time. Boy, nice play by Sarah Bro, and I know that you're really high on her, Coach. You talked about the upside with Sarah Bro and what type of player she's going to be as she continues through her college career.
Just so smooth with her hands. I know over her career they're going to work on her range and some things like that, and then the offensive pieces got to come together. But I'm pretty much officially a fanboy of her now, Sarah Bro.
Tabitha Perry, the sophomore at the plate.
As I am of Pavese, too. I guess you could say I'm a front runner.
We mentioned this Winthrop top half of the order, dangerous. Coach Fuller talked heavily about this bottom part of their lineup. They really need to get more offense out of it. Perry, who plays a really good first base for the Eagles, hitting in the 8th spot for the Eagles tonight. Count 2-1.
Has the time change affected you yet, Kendall?
It has.
Has it really?
Yeah.
In what way, might I ask?
I tell you what, I'm missing not having that extra hour of sleep. 2-2, grounded to second base. Collins gloves it, makes the play.
That was a nice off-speed pitch right there. 48 miles an hour. And look how far out front she was on it. She knew she'd been fooled, and she's walking, running down the base path thinking, the whole way down there.
2 outs. Bottom of the order for the Eagles. Emma Robertson tries to lay down a bunt, and it trickles foul. Now, this is a Winthrop team. We talk about the power and the speed that they have. They lost Katie Beck, who led this team in home runs as a freshman with 11 last year. She's missing the entire season due to injury. Chopping ground ball. Collins slides over, makes the throw again. 3 up and 3 down that time. It's 4-1. We go to the bottom of the second inning at McWhorter Stadium right after these messages. The head coach, 7th season of the program's existence, and we talked about that success right before the break. 3 super regional appearances, an ACC championship last year. And Coach Whitlock, I know that you and I have talked off air. You've traveled a lot of miles. Your USA softball experience with that guy. He was the right man for the job, and you and him go way back.
That is my boy, Johnny Ball Game. Snappy dresser, too. I want to add that I'm wearing my black shirt tonight in honor of Coach Rittman, because he coached last Friday night dressed all in black. If he's going to do a Johnny Cash look, I can do it too.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Bottom of the second inning. Corey Hicks, a 3-run blast. He was a 4-run first inning for the Tigers. And we're back to the top of their order with Brockenbrough.
She is so professional and proficient in everything she does.
Count 2-2.
She's came out of Locust Grove High School. That's on the kind of the south side of it, Atlanta, going down toward Macon. Started out at Tennessee and came over here a year ago. And her contribution's been immeasurable.
Brockenbrough swings and fouls it back. Well, we talked about Jamison Brockenbrough singled in the first inning. Center fielder's been really good for the Tigers this year. 22 hits now and 4 stolen bases to go with 3 homers, and she laces one into left center field. Rounding first, rounding second. She's got the speed, sliding into third. Tack on another extra base hit for Jamison Brockenbrough.
And she never hesitated. I don't know if she had it all the way because the play was in front of her, or did Johnny have her wound up? I was looking at the relay. But you look, she lit it. You see her eyes. Did you see her eyes as she was rounding second base? She saw it. She knew she had it. That was a great shot by our camera crew, because if you see it as she approaches second base, she takes a peek out there in the outfield. And she knew exactly what she was going to do because she saw where the ball was going.
How about that for the Tigers?
Watch this. Watch this.
The second.
See her looking at it? She saw where the ball was going, so she just kept right on going.
Incredible. Brockenbrough, a single and a triple. 2 for 2 for the Tigers. With Kylie Chanel at the plate. She grounded out to the shortstop in her first plate appearance back in the first inning. Well, Clemson did all the damage with 4 runs with 2 outs on the Eagles in the first inning as she takes a look at the 2-0.
All right, let's see what. You see that was all her, because Rittman made no type of movement whatsoever. That right there is an example of a coach knowing that he's got a veteran runner out there and trust her to make the decision. The only thing he did was tell her to slide. Oh, now she gets to third base and he wants to coach her.
No, 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 yes, 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 right?
Yeah.
Runners on the corners with nobody out here in the bottom of the second inning.
He was reminding her what to look for on the ground ball to the right side, about how deep a fly ball. Don't get caught in fair territory and get hit by a ball. All the things she's heard 1,000 times, but coaches say it every time, and they should.
Cardenas launches. This one's lined out into left field. The catch is made by Nickens. And everybody will stay put. What a play by Dara Nickens. Let's take a second look at the replay.
What a great play by the left fielder. And I hate to say this, but Brockenbrough got caught making a mistake at third base. She'd already started trotting in. She didn't hang out at the bag to see the ball down.
First pitch to Marion Collins is off speed. It's in there, call a strike.
That's something you always got to do if you're in third base.
And Collins fouls this one's back.
You'll see what I'm talking about right here. See, the ball's hit. Brockenbrough just knows that it's going to score, but now she's got to scat back. If she stays right there on the bag and kind of catches the ball with the outfielder, she's able to just trot in and score. Yeah. No, it doesn't. It just you got to do that every time.
Liner again, diving back to the bag. Brockenbrough got back just in time. What a grab by Bryden at third. There's two down for the Eagles now. So Pavesi and Collins line out back to back. Let's take a second look.
And that was a great play. She almost turned it into a double play.
And Julia Noller, who got things going for the Tigers with 2 outs on an RBI single in the first, takes a look at the first pitch. It's a strike. Trying to extend this lead here.
Boy, Noller's already got 1 RBI. If she gets another one, that could be huge for her confidence.
Noller swings. And the catch made by Nickens again. Dara Nickens, some incredible catches for the Eagles. It's 4-1 here at McWhorter Stadium. We'll be right back on ACC Network Extra. Sure, for the Clemson Tigers as we go to the third here on ACC Network Extra. And Hames this year, she's tossed 15 1/3 innings of work. See those 20 strikeouts, 16 walks, and teams only batting 148 against.
Yeah, walks have been a bugaboo for her. She actually has the lowest ERA on the team at 0.91. But she hasn't logged the innings, of course, like Manus or Dunning. And perhaps, in fairness, she may have not faced the competition that those two have faced. But if she gets rid of ball 4, she's going to be much, much more effective.
And we're back to the top of the Eagles order with Rebecca Amos at the plate, who takes a look at the first pitch from Hames.
And I would suspect, and this is only speculation, that this is a predetermined change. They gave the starting pitcher one time through the lineup, and now they are going to give Hames her shot through the lineup, and we probably might even see a third pitcher tonight.
Amos was walked to start the game for Winthrop and ended up coming around to score for the Eagles, their lone run. She's been the leadoff hitter in all 25 of the Eagles games this year.
She's seen 8 pitches and only 1 strike.
Count 3-0. And Hames finds the zone for a called strike.
If you could throw that one again, throw it. Amos is a very good freshman, but you want to make him put it in play.
one just misses the zone for a walk. So Amos will take her base on balls for the second time tonight. A runner aboard for the Eagles here in the top of the third inning. Clemson with a home series against Louisville this weekend, 3-game series. Winthrop opens Big South play against Presbyterian. Fastball's in there, called a strike from Hames.
That's on the road for them too, isn't it? Isn't that in Clinton?
Yeah, in Clinton, South Carolina are the Eagles. We mentioned they have played a handful of Power 4 conference teams this year and played them close. Lost to Syracuse by a run, lost to number 20 Virginia Tech by a run. Lana Addison, who is the Big South Pitcher of the Week, as Coach Fuller said, threw one of the best games of her career in that game against Virginia Tech. They fell just short. 0-2, it's a wild pitch. And Amos just trots on down to second base.
I know she was trying to pitch out of the zone, and I totally get it, but maybe not quite that far out of the zone. Anytime the catcher has to get it on the ricochet, it's probably not where you wanted it.
Peyton Bryden, a dangerous hitter at the plate for the Eagles, connects on this one. It's a two-hopper to second base, hit right at Marion Collins, and she makes the play over to first, but it advances Amos to third. And one down for the Tigers.
Right here is a situation now where it gives Hames a chance to work if she accepts the challenge of trying to either, number one, get the strikeout or get the short fly ball or something like that to leave that runner stranded at third base. We saw Clemson get a runner to third with nobody out in their last half inning, and they stranded her. Let's see what happens here, but this is a tough assignment with Dara Nickens.
Nickens made two spectacular catches out in left field for the Eagles.
This is really interesting. Even in a non-conference game midweek, Clemson working on their infield in stuff. They got the infield plate in to cut the runner off at the plate.
Time called. They're going to go out and have a word with Lexi Hames of Clemson.
That's Kyle Edmonds, the pitching coach.
Really incredible staff here for the Clemson Tigers. We mentioned 7 years.
Kyle Jamerson. I just call him Kyle Edmonds. That's somebody else entirely, unless he's operating under an alias.
We're just talking about this seventh year of the program for Clemson. 3 super regional appearances already. An ACC championship last year. The 2 newest ACC programs, Duke and Clemson, each have success since starting their programs. And a bouncer in the dirt. We're evened up at a ball and a strike. Darren Nickens came into this game batting .415. Third in the Big South with 20 runs scored. She's tied for first in home runs and tied for second in the Big South Conference in RBI. We can even go further than that. Nickens 6th in that conference in slugging percentage through 25 games this year. Darren Nickens, one of the best that the Big South has to offer. Our count is square, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And she does everything good. She hits for power, she hits for average.
Nickens connects, and this one eats up Collins. Amos comes in to score, and it's a 4-2 ball game.
And she did the cardinal sin. She let the ball play her instead of playing the ball. She stopped. She should have kept moving forward and caught that ball on the hop and just took her medicine and got the out at first base and let the run score.
Second error on Marion Collins. That's a rarity it's a 4-2 game. Pitch was high and slipped past the catcher, Corey Hicks. And Nickens in scoring position for the Winthrop Eagles now. And time called.
It's definitely not shaping up like the inning they wanted for her.
We're going to get a pinch runner for the Winthrop Eagles. It's Millie Watts, the sophomore from Clayton, Georgia. Rabun County High School product will pinch run for Dara Nickens here in the top of the 3rd inning. Hames delivers. It's a called strike. Our umpires tonight, Steve Rhodes is behind the plate. Donald Purnell the second at first base. And Greg Craps, the third base umpire tonight on this Palmetto State Clash. We mentioned Winthrop, their final Power 4 conference opponent before they start Big South play. 2-1 pitch. Tia Beckham, the DP, the junior, who bats .371 at the plate. 24 RBI, connects on this one. Drifting out into right field, catch made by Pipkins. The throw to third, slips past, and another run for the Eagles.
And another error by the Tigers.
Wow, 3 errors on the Clemson Tigers. And let's take a look at the replay.
Well, it all gets down to Pipkins short hopping the third baseman. And the ball went right into the dugout, which automatically allowed her to move. And now, just like that, that 3-run lead is gone. You're up a run, and you're really in a fist fight with these guys. And I think they're going to check and see if the runner left early.
They're going to take a look at this. I think you're right, Coach. Going to see if the runner left early. I gotta love this part of the game, Coach, and how different. Of course, we've seen other sports that have adopted replay capabilities over the last 6-7 years. Softball no different.
That's correct. They in all replay, I guess in every sport, if they could just do it quicker.
Yeah.
Because that's not going to tell. Let's see. That may tell us. I don't think you're going to. I don't think you're going to overturn that.
We talked about Millie Watts is pinch running for Dara Nickens, and I don't think she left early.
No, she did not leave early. That's going to be a quick one.
Let's see the verdict. Call will stand. We got a 4-3 ball game here in the top of the third inning.
They've not charged it yet, but there should be a third error charge right there.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh, there we go.
3 errors on the Tigers.
That's going to make the coaching staff a little testy.
Grayson Buckner, the shortstop for Winthrop, at the plate. Takes a look at the first pitch. She's 1 for 1 with a single already. Tigers with 2 outs here in the top of the third. 3 straight pitches. Missed the zone for Lexi Hames. And a walk.
And none of them were very close.
If you're just tuning in, Clemson started Kira Crosby in the circle tonight. Lexi Hames has come into pitch here in the top of the third. So a runner on base for the Eagles. And Weinbarger at the plate now for Winthrop. First pitch is in there, called a strike.
Weinsberger only hitting 205. If you were going to attack a hitter, this would be the one you would attack.
Weinbarger flew out to right field in her only at bat tonight. Check swing and pulled it back in time. We're even at a ball and a strike.
That was a little bit of an off-speed pitch too.
Low and away. With Hames trying to get in a groove here in the third inning. Of course, Clemson with 3 errors and Winthrop 2 runs in the top of this third. A good pitch that time from Hames.
That may have been the best pitch she's thrown this inning.
Two, it's low and away. We're full. The Tigers won this meeting last year on April 9th, 4-1, right here at McWhorter Stadium. And chopped back. Weinbarger will stay alive with 2 outs here in the top of the third inning.
And everyone knows that the runner is going on the pitch. Anything in the gap could tie this game up.
And fouled back again. Weinbarger in a battle.
And if you're Buckner out there at first base, you're trying to tell your catcher, make up your mind, you're killing me. I'm having to break and run to second base on every pitch you foul off.
Eighth pitch of the at-bat for Lexi Hames. It's in there, called strike 3. And that'll retire the top half of the third. Winthrop gets 2 back. We got a 4-3 ball game on ACC Network Extra. Inning, Clemson leading. Winthrop posted 2 runs in the top of this inning. And the Eagles have been incredible defensively. That was an area of focus for Coach Fuller heading into tonight's game. You mentioned this is their final non-conference game before they begin Big South play.
And it's a very simple rule of thumb. You know, your hitting is going to go up and down over the course of the season, but you should play good defense all the time, or you can play good defense all the time.
Corey Hicks leading things off. Had the 3-run blast in the first inning and sends this one deep into left field. And the catch is made for the first out. Let's take a look at some of these plays by the Eagles. Darren Nickens, 2 spectacular catches in left field today. And how about the third baseman and Peyton Bryden making that catch?
And even the third out was a good play.
Well, Nickens came charging in right as that sun starting to set here at McWhorter Stadium. I think if you're Kendall Fuller, you go back and watch the tape of this game tonight. You got to be happy with that, and especially being an area of focus.
Absolutely.
Sarah Bro at the plate for the Tigers.
You can tell that this Winthrop team has been well coached. They know how to play the game, you know.
Yep. Count square, 1 ball and a strike. This one down the line, and fair ball. A base hit for Sarah Bro.
Very good job. She ripped it right down the line. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Johnny Rittman, the head coach, may be thinking pinch runner right here. Let's see.
He's going to go have a quick word with the home plate umpire, Steve Rhodes. And I believe that's what this is about. It is a pinch runner.
Trying to get a number. The Tigers are wearing that white jersey that doesn't have solid numbers, but that's number 1, Ariel, Kennedy Ariel, a junior outfielder. And she has a ton of experience as a pinch runner. Her freshman and sophomore year, she did it a lot.
Coach Rittman going to get some speed on the base pass for the Tigers. It is interesting and worth noting that Millie Watts, who was the pinch runner for Darren Nickens in Winthrop, is in left field now for the Eagles.
And she'll stay there probably until Nickens comes back up to bat.
Yep. This one swung on. Can they turn 2? No, but they get the lead runner. But right in with the glove and the quick flip to Pearson.
But did you see the fine play made there to get the lead runner?
Yeah, off and just one hop.
And we just saw the runner just steal second base.
A great play by.
They turned their back to the runner.
Peyton Bryden of Winthrop, who's played a really good third base this year, as Coach Fuller comes out to talk with Steve Rhodes, our home plate umpire. Let's take another look at that.
See, nobody looking. And she just trotted right on down there. They're wanting to, now they're going to talk about, was the ball in the circle or not, or had the runner committed to going back to the bag? You can't change directions if you're off the base. You got to go one way or the other.
We've seen them go back to the monitors.
No, they've just
already
checked
one time in this game.
And that is the mark of a good umpire crew.
Yeah.
If you swallow your pride and everybody get together and be sure you know what's going on.
Yes, sir. 2 outs for the Eagles. Pipkins at the plate. The right fielder for the Tigers with a runner in scoring position. And for Cardenas, she's 67 pitches in. And misfires again.
Now you see Pipkins out there hitting 231 in a 2-0 count. She becomes something like a 260 hitter. She could be a little pickier.
Pipkins takes a look at the called strike.
Now with the strike, she's back down to 231.
She'll hang on to the bat again, 3-1.
That pitch can't be missing by much.
We mentioned Winthrop won 4 of their 5 games in the Winthrop Invitational over the weekend. Team starting to really find their groove at the right time, but a walk here as Pipkins will take her base, and we're back to the top of the order in the Tigers lineup.
And the third time through is really, really difficult for the pitcher, because you've got to change the way you approach batters. I'm sure whoever's calling pitches knows that. But the Clemson hitters now have seen you.
First pitch by Brockenbrough ripped down the right side and foul.
She turned all the way around on that one.
She's got a single and a triple. And it was a leadoff triple. At that, her second time at the plate.
And it didn't score. That was the inning where we saw the 3 great plays in the outfield.
That's like deja vu, right, of the Sunday loss to Georgia Tech when Clemson had runners on, couldn't move anyone, and a ground out right to first base. Perry steps on the bag, and it's 4-3. We'll be back. We got a good one tonight on ACC Network Extra. Clemson, South Carolina, with temperatures in the 70s, and some Winthrop Eagle fans have made the trip. I mentioned that the Tigers won this game last April. They played once in the 2025 season. Winthrop 0-6 all time, but we talk about the success this program's had, Scott, in the 7 years, and the fans certainly turn out to McWhorter Stadium night in and night out for this Tigers team.
Well, the fans and the events people do a great job of creating a great atmosphere here at McWhorter Stadium.
Lexi Hames still in the circle as we go to 7, 8, 9 hitters in the Winthrop order. Carly Pearson, Tabitha Perry, and Emma Robertson all due up here in the top of the 4th for the Eagles.
And I'm not sure, but during that crowd shot, did we see somebody playing with a slinky? I didn't even know they made them anymore. That's from Meyer. There you go.
Well, great job by our production crew. Great work by our camera crew tonight, bringing you these shots.
Oh, there you go. She's got a Clemson softball fanny pack. She's got a Clemson slinky.
2-1 count. Pearson hits it right back at Hames. Quick reflexes, and she makes the toss over to first for the first out here in the 4th.
That's a big first out right there. Maybe that'll give her a little bit of confidence. Hames is a promising freshman.
And this will bring up Tabitha Perry, who grounded out to second base. 7, 8, 9, part of the Winthrop order that was all due up here in the top of the 4th. Each 0 for 1. And all 3 grounded out in their only plate appearance thus far. Winthrop knocking on the door. They posted 2 runs back in the 3rd inning. The Tigers with 3 errors tonight.
And that couldn't have missed by much. But the zone has been consistent, so please don't think I'm criticizing the umpire. Well, I guess I was, wasn't I? I didn't mean to.
2-0, it's in there, call the strike.
And for those of you who don't watch every game, those are not wristwatches they're looking at in between pitches.
2-1, burns the inner edge for called strike 2.
They have electronic communication now available between the dugout and the players.
That's awesome.
And that's what's on their wrist. It's not a wristwatch. You see there on Hicks.
2-2. It's a bouncer.
Tried to go off speed right there.
Hames with a strikeout that ended the 3rd inning on Annalisa Weinberger. Trying to carry that momentum, and there it is. Her 2nd K of the night. 2 down for the Tigers.
Much different look to the pitcher this 2nd inning out. Maybe she had a little rust on her. And she certainly wasn't helped by the defense. That is a great pitch and a great job of framing by Hicks right there.
Bottom of the Winthrop order, Emma Robertson, who grounded out to second base. waving swing comes up empty. We touched on Winthrop winning 4 of 5 against Georgia State. Wins against Georgia State, ETSU twice. And Bucknell to finish out the Invitational on Sunday.
And you got to guess, just like Winthrop, all of those schools are probably diving into conference play this coming week.
Yeah. Georgia State, a team that's a part of that tough Sun Belt conference every single year, softball.
That is a
very good conference.
Yes, it is.
That's a league that's earned multiple bids numerous times, and teams that have hosted regionals, including going back to the Jerry Glasgow, Louisiana days. 2-1, ground ball down the line.
Yeah, that one beat bro. It was hit sharp. Tip your hat to the 9-hole hitter.
A good piece of hitting for Robertson.
That's a part of the game that young players work on in terms of being quicker to react, agility, and things like that. Now, I'm not saying that she would have caught that ball under any circumstance, but that movement side to side comes with experience and work.
To the top of the order, Amos through the right side.
They were playing hit and run right then.
Runners at first and second.
But they had the runner started. No, they did not. But for some reason, the second baseman, Collins, broke towards second base. I'm not sure what happened there.
All of a sudden, runners at first and second with 2 outs. First pitch is up high to Peyton Bryden, who is a dangerous hitter for the Winthrop Eagles. She's got plenty of power.
Isn't it crazy how momentum and situations just have an effect on a player or a game? Because Hames was cruising through this 4th inning. Nobody out, 2 out, nobody on.
And Hames has got to really be careful pitching to Bryden, who is a top 6 home runs leader with 6 homers this year in the Big South Conference. Talk about the power for Bryden. Count 3-0. She'll take a look at the 3-0 fastball that's in there, called a strike.
You see right there.
You see it. Yep, Nickens and Bryden each with 6 apiece. Beckham with 5.
And this is a pitch you got to be real careful if you're the person in the circle.
Ball 4, and the bases are loaded.
And look who's coming up.
All the momentum in the Eagles' favor. And Kendall Fuller, the head coach for Winthrop, out talking to the home plate umpire and Steve Rhodes.
And you're about to see a pitching change, and we're about to see someone who I did not expect to see tonight. But the ace of the Clemson Tiger staff, Sierra Manis, is making her way out to the mound.
We'll be right back on ACC Network Extra. Things getting interesting. Junior righty Sierra Manis is in the circle for the Tigers now, as Coach Whitlock mentioned right before the timeout that did not expect to see Manis in this game tonight. Comes in with 2 outs, the bases loaded, facing Darren Nickens for the Winthrop Eagles.
And this might be the biggest pitch in the game right here.
And it's a called strike.
The reason I say that, you get behind her 2-0, no place to put her.
Yep. Nickens reached base on an error, was left on back in the first inning, and then reached on an error in the third inning. Advanced to second off a wild pitch, ended up coming in to score when Hicks hit that 3-run. Check that in the third inning, came in to score.
And there's that try look at all the runners, no place to put her. But right here's the pitch. You want to make it happen if you're Manis.
Nickens, ground ball to short, throw just in time.
And that's why she's the ace. She got the ground ball when she needed the ground ball.
Take a second look. Winthrop was threatening, but Clemson still leading 4-3. Mac Pavesi and Marion Collins, 2, 3, and 4 due up for the Clemson Tigers as we go to the bottom of the fourth inning tonight at McWhorter Stadium. Kendall Lewis, Scott Whitlock, the Hall of Fame coach, with you on ACC Network Extra. As Chanel 0 of 1 tonight. She did reach on a walk and was left stranded in the second inning. Grounded out to the shortstop in the first inning tonight for the Tigers.
Correct.
Cardenas still in the circle for the Winthrop Eagles.
And you got to tip your hat to Cardenas because she has hung on and hung around, withstood the storm of the bottom of the first, and has come down here and kept their team in the game.
And this one hits Kylie Chanel. Well, that's the first hit by pitch from Cardenas tonight. Cardenas is a drop ball heavy pitcher.
Yes.
We've seen that on display in this game tonight.
Oh, she also nicked Carly Johnson earlier.
You're right. First pitch lifted, deep center field. Off the wall, gets over the head of Robertson. And how about that? Pavesi with a double. And both runners in scoring position.
And she hit this like a rocket. Very good job by the center fielder making the play. You got to give Robertson all the credit in the world. She played that ball right off the wall, kept the run from scoring.
And here comes Marion Collins. Nobody out and 2 runners in scoring position for Collins, who, as we mentioned in the open, had 10 extra base hits on the season out of her total of 28. 21 career doubles. That already sits in the top 10 in program history. And her 16 last year is 3rd in program history.
And she's only in the middle of her sophomore season.
Think of some of the names in the 7 years. Of course, Valerie Cagle at the top of that list here in program history. 1-1. Big swing from Collins right at the second baseman. Pearson makes the throw to first to get the out, but a run comes in to score.
That's run production right there. Yeah, it was a 4-3, but it's a 4-3 with an RBI.
But just what the Tigers wanted as we take a second look at the replay.
And it was hit hard. You know, that third time through the batting order, we talked about that earlier, Kendall.
First pitch popped up. It's a tower, left center field. Robertson's going to make the catch. And more run production for the Tigers.
Sac fly.
Pavesi will come in to score. So Chanel and Pavesi score runs here in the bottom of the fourth inning, and Clemson.
And that is a classic example of the little things you've got to do when you get runners in score position. Find a way to get them across.
The Tigers lead it now 6-3, just what they needed.
Yep. A ground ball and a sac fly.
Yep.
It don't help hardly anything in your statistics, but it scores runs. I guess both hitters did get RBIs.
Julia Noller now with 2 RBI in this game. They really needed her to get going.
Well, she has been productive tonight, and of course,
yep,
Hicks has been very productive.
Yeah, 3-run homer in the first inning. Flew out to left field later in the third. Takes a look at the 2-0. Now that home run ball went 236 feet, Corey Hicks. It was a no-doubter as soon as it left the bat. 2-1. Cardenas now with 87 total pitches on the night for the Winthrop Eagles. And another walk. So Hicks will take her base for the Tigers here in the bottom of the fourth.
2-out walks are not ideal, but after the success that Hicks has had, I can understand being careful. That brings up Bro, the third baseman.
Bro walked in the first inning, singled in the third.
Yep, she ripped a single her last time up right down the third base line.
And they sent a pinch runner in the game, Kennedy Ariel, for Bro in her last.
Yep, they've had to re-enter her.
And they re-enter her. And looking to increase their lead, 6-3. Winthrop had the bases loaded, trailing 4-3. Clemson able to answer the call. And they've led the entire way here. Bro rips a shot right back up the middle.
That was your good old-fashioned Charlie Brown right there, right back up the middle.
Good piece of hitting for Sarah Bro, and we'll take a second look.
That's just right back up the middle. Once again, I've made reference to an out-of-date situation, but in the Peanuts cartoon, Charlie Brown, when he was pitching, anytime a ball was hit right back up the middle, it's like it'd flip him over and everything. His glove and hat would come off.
We've got a pinch hitter for the Clemson Tigers. Sarah Rochelaw is at the plate for Clemson here in the bottom of the fourth. Rochelaw, you got it, Coach.
She's hitting 200 on the season. Rochelaw.
And Coach Rittman going to come out and get a pinch runner at second base.
Yep. We'll try to get that run in.
Try to get that. Riley Burton, the junior from Lancaster, South Carolina.
Trying to get that run in on a single. And let your catcher go back in the dugout and rest a little bit and put your gear on before you have to go back out there. Don't try to say Rochelaw and laugh at the same time.
Burton, the pinch runner, at second for the Tigers. Rochelaw at the plate. And fouls it back to the screen. we're even at a ball and a strike.
Rochelaw, another freshman.
Rochelaw connects on this one to short, throw to second in plenty of time. Buckner to Pearson. Clemson tacks on 2 more runs. They lead it 6-3 at McWhorter Stadium. 10 hits, 3 errors from the Tigers. And runners left stranded, Coach. It's been a good one here at McWhorter Stadium.
It has been, but you see some of the good signs happening here. That's not one of them. But you're seeing Noller drive in runs, and then you're going to see Hicks here in a moment. Well, maybe not. You're going to see the manufactured runs here first by Collins, and then the sac fly by Noller to expand the lead to 6-3, and that's where we stand.
Here's a look at the game summary of tonight. Cardenas has went the length for the Eagles and given up the 5 walks. And the Tigers, who started the night in the circle with Kira Crosby, sent Lexi Hames into pitch in the 3rd inning. And of course, Corey Hicks with the 3-run homer for the Tigers back in the 1st inning, gave them a 4-1 lead.
And that's something that you have to adjust and adapt to. I'll follow up here in a second.
First pitch, it's a grounder hit to 3rd on the 1-hopper. Bro charges in, gloves it, makes the throw.
Yep. When the game started, I think the game plan for Clemson was to give a couple of pitchers one time through the batting order. It worked out with the starting pitcher, Crosby. But when Hames came in, it kind of went sideways, and now you're having to see Manis out there on the mound. And I'm sure that Coach Rittman would have preferred not to use her tonight, or use her maybe only 1 inning or something like that. And now she's out here for her 2nd inning, although she only worked 1 batter.
Grayson Buckner at the plate, swings on this one, and hits it right at the second baseman in Marion Collins.
And do you see what happens when you throw strikes with movement? We've thrown like 4 pitches, and there's 2 outs.
Yeah.
That's what throwing strikes does for you. It keeps your infield on their toes. It keeps everybody involved.
That was interesting. They sit Manis into the game with 2 outs and the bases loaded. Clemson's ace.
Transferred in here from USC Upstate, where she had played for a good friend of mine, Chris Hawkins.
You and I were talking about Coach Hawkins off air before this one started.
Oh, I've known Hawk a long time, and he has done a tremendous job at USC Upstate.
And also a part of the Big South Conference, so that's going to be a fun league this year with a Winthrop team tonight that has had their moments.
Is Campbell still in that league?
Campbell is in the CAA now.
They moved, didn't they?
Yeah, they moved out of that league, but the Big South has been a fun softball conference over the years. 2-1. Hit right back to Manis, who gloves it, goes to first. 3 up and 3 down inning. Tigers coming to bat. They lead it 6-3. It's Winthrop 6-3 as we go to the bottom of the 5th inning. And the Tigers get back to ACC play on Friday afternoon. Coach Whitlock, I know you're on the call for that one this weekend right here at McWhorter Stadium.
And I look forward to be very competitive.
Yeah.
The Cardinals are 18-5 and 2-1 in the league. Clemson is 2-1 in the league. They're trying to get to 17-8 tonight.
That's their 3rd series against one another, and the Tigers holding a 8-2 advantage. Cardenas still in the circle. Taylor Pipkins at the plate. Also with that Louisville series, Taylor Roby, who is the director of player development here for the Tigers, a former All-American for the Cardinals. So a little Clemson connection with that Louisville series coming up on Friday afternoon.
How about that? Things will be hopping in Louisville the first weekend in May, won't it?
No doubt about it. 2 balls and 1 strike. Pipkins hits this one hard down the left side.
I've already bought my big hat to wear.
Have you really?
Yes. I like to make a statement when I go to the Derby.
Yeah, 2 balls and 2 strikes on Taylor Pipkins. Pipkins reached base on a walk in the 3rd inning. Drives this one, lines it to center, and the catch made. Robertson backpedaling at the track. Makes the grab for the first out here in the bottom of the 5th.
And from our vantage point, we could see that she was tracking that ball. She was on that ball. And that ball was hit sharply and it was tailing away from her. And Robertson did a great job of tracking that ball and running it down.
Well, this Winthrop outfield's been really good. Darren Nickens with a couple of spectacular catches in left. And then that time Robertson backtracking in center. And Cardenas' night has come to an end. A pitching change for the Winthrop Eagles. We'll be right back on ACC Network Extra. Is in the circle now for the Winthrop Eagles. Delivers the first pitch to Brockenbrough, and she pops it up. Catch is made by the Eagles. Now 2 down for Winthrop. Talk about Grayson Buckner. She's only thrown 5 1/3 this year, but teams only hitting 167 against Buckner this year. And Coach Kendall Fuller said it earlier this afternoon, said you may see Grayson Buckner get some time in the circle tonight.
And I believe that's Brianna Reilly at shortstop.
And she is the new Winthrop Eagles shortstop.
Yes, number 11, Reilly.
Big swing. This one sent deep out into center field. It's Robertson again who makes the catch at the track. No runs that time for the Tigers. 6-3, Winthrop coming to bat after these messages. Schedule, they start Big South play this weekend at Presbyterian over in Clinton, South Carolina. And they've got a midweek game against Coastal Carolina. And then back to Big South play with Gardner-Webb. That's a fun conference, a Big South. I think that league is so interesting, Coach, when you think about it. It's one of the few leagues where everyone is still virtually a bus trip away in that conference.
Yes.
And Manis forces a ground out as Pearson hits it right back to her. Well, Manis came in a couple of innings ago with the bases loaded, 2 outs. And by our count, that is just her 9th pitch.
No, that's her 12th pitch.
The 12th pitch. Oh, excuse me.
Yeah. She's pitched 1 2/3. And we got a pitch hitter coming up. That's going to be number 21, Sophia Lawson.
Yep, the sophomore.
See what we can find out on her. She's hitting 143 on the year. Got 2 hits and 14 at-bats.
Lawson takes a look at the first pitch. We were talking about that Big South Conference. Everyone virtually a bus trip still in that conference. I think with the way that we've seen across the country, the conferences move and shake over the years, with even the mid-major conferences with having to travel across the country to play a series. The Big South has held on to those regional rivalries, if you will.
Since I'm an antique, I'll tell you that back when I was coaching early on, it was not unusual to be like an 8-hour bus ride the day before you played. And now, you know, teams are flying all over the place, you know.
Lawson pinch hitting in the 8th spot for Tabitha Perry for the Winthrop Eagles. Count is square, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Sierra Manis in the circle for the Tigers. And we are full.
I've been told that many times.
Just outside, ball 4.
First free pass issued by Manis, first base runner. Manis looks like we're going to have another. I can't tell if we're having a re-entry or we're having a pinch hitter. I got to get a number. We got now. We got a pinch runner coming out.
Yeah,
number 12 is coming out to run, and that would be Rushing.
Yeah, freshman from Bowling Springs.
Leah Rushing. Yeah, in a hurry, Rushing fast.
Rushing's adds some speed for the Winthrop Eagles on the base paths, and it's the first walk from Manis. Winthrop tonight has left 6 runners stranded in this game,
including bases loaded.
Yeah, and at that point they were only down 4-3.
Yeah, Manis came in and put out that fire. That was the 3rd inning, I believe.
We're showing bunt is Emma Robertson, the center fielder that's made some great plays out there tonight.
Very impressed with the way that they go about playing defense.
One, 2. Robertson stares at it. Evens the count up at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Boy, talked about it defensively. That was Coach Fuller was adamant about that earlier this afternoon. That's a point of focus heading into Big South play, and they've made some great plays defensively tonight. Swing and a miss. Big strikeout from Manis.
That was a little bit of a mismatch. I was just sitting here looking at the monitor, and I was just thinking, what a great job. You see the strike right there swinging right through it. But what great shots we get from this camera crew and production truck here at Clemson.
Oh, no question.
Big time.
Great crew tonight. And this Tuesday night, great crowd on hand tonight, Clemson, South Carolina, here on ACC Network Extra. Kendall Lewis, Scott Whitlock here with you tonight. And Manis's fastball misses away. Pinch runner that is on base is Leah Rushing. And Amos takes a cut, comes up empty.
She's facing something a little different than she's seen so far. Amos, though, is still a good-looking freshman player.
1-2, swing and a miss. Manis with back-to-back strikeouts. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning. When we return, Clemson leads at 6-3. We talked about that series with Louisville here at McWhorter Stadium this weekend. That is a pivotal series in the ACC standings.
There is a lot on the line in that series.
It really it's moving time, if you will, in the conference. Clemson's 2-1 in conference play. Louisville 2-1 in conference play. And then you look, Duke went 3-0 in their opening series. Virginia 2-1. Georgia Tech 4-2. That's a big series here between the Tigers and the Cardinals. Pavesi at the plate for the Tigers. Grayson Buckner, who began the evening at shortstop for the Eagles, is in the circle. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning here.
I'm not familiar with Louisville's schedule, but I know that the Clemson Tiger schedule gets progressively tougher as the season goes on.
A great piece of hitting for Pavesi, and leads things off with a single.
She just kind of soft flipped that thing out over the shortstop's head, didn't she?
Just dropped it right in the bucket.
Little flop shot, using a gap wedge right there.
You know all about those, right? We were talking the Walker course right across the street. You got to get 18 holes in before the game Friday, Coach.
Yeah, they tend not to let me on that course.
Eighth hit of the game for the Clemson Tigers. And again, they need some insurance runs here to try to close things out here tonight. And Buckner misfires away. And Clemson will, as we showed you their upcoming schedule, they will play their series against Louisville and then travel to Cullowhee, North Carolina. They've got a road trip.
Going all the way to.
Big swing. This one's ripped off the wall in right center. And both runners in scoring position now for the Tigers with nobody out.
And that right there was Collins showing you what she's capable of. Pavesi just strolls into third base. Ball was hit very hard, almost got out of here. Yeah, hit off the wall. And look who's up, but a chance to drive in some runs.
Kendall Fuller out in the circle. We talked about it. Wanted to get Grayson Buckner some time.
We got a pinch hitter coming up, I believe.
It's Ava Wilson for the Tigers.
Ava Wilson, a sophomore.
From Ackworth, Georgia. Wilson will come in the pinch hit.
She's only got 14 at bats.
Yep.
Only hitting 143. Does have 3 RBI.
She'll pinch hit for Julia Noller. Here in the 5 spot in the Tigers order. First pitch low and away from Grayson Buckner.
I'm somewhat familiar with Ava Wilson, her family. I have mutual friends with her family, and she comes from a great family, great support group. And the mutual friend, Jay Mobley, pays me $45 every time I mention his name. So I mentioned Jay Mobley.
You're a rich man then.
That's 90 he owes me right now.
Wilson check swing, got a piece. And the count, 2 balls and 1 strike.
Jay Mobley, a fine collegiate pitcher at Kennesaw State. My old haunt.
Two-one, just upstairs. This would be a checked at 3-1. The count now. This would be a massive win for the Winthrop Eagles tonight. We talked about how they're 0-6 all time against the Tigers, and a walk here loads the bases up.
There you see the young head coach of the Winthrop Eagles doing a great job of reestablishing this program. Kendall Fuller.
Higgs connects on this one. It's down the line in foul territory, caught. Throw to the plate, it's close, and runner safe.
And they were safe because it was a great slide that time by, I think it was Pavesi.
Pavesi, who slides in safely for the Tigers.
Watch this slide. And the only reason this is possible is the second baseman was running away from the throw. And watch right here, she slides well outside, gets the left hand across the base, and just like that, it's 7-3.
That's the first out here, the bottom of the 6th inning. Pavesi slides in safely. Runners on the corners now. It's Marion Collins, the lead runner. Sarah Bro at the plate for the Tigers.
Now, you're going to ask me why I say this, but it would be huge to get that run scored from third base before this inning is over.
A big cut from Bro.
Reason being, that would give you a 5-run lead and the grand slam no longer ties you.
Bro is 2 for 2 with a walk tonight. He's reached base in all 3 appearances at the plate for the Tigers. Bro pops this one up in the infield, and the catch made. That's the second out, and leaves the runners at first and third.
And we talked about it much earlier in the night about productive outs with runners in scoring position.
Yep.
And that's a classic example of Bro not achieving that.
Brianna Reilly made the catch. Can Clemson tap into these insurance runs here? You just touched on it. This would make it a 5-run lead if they can push Collins across here with 2 outs. Buckner on the delivery. It's high and away.
Very simple philosophy. You want a 1-run lead, 2-run lead, 3-run lead, 4-run lead, 5-run lead, and then you want an 8-run lead. 8-run lead being the game ender.
This one low and inside, so 2-0 to Kylie Johnson, who was hit by a pitch back in the first inning, and then
perhaps
on a fielder's choice in the 3rd and 4th innings.
Excuse me for stepping on you, partner. But
Johnson, big swing. This one back at the wall, and the catch made by Robertson.
She hit it about as far as you can, and it stayed in the ballpark, Kendall. That was a drive.
Noah, Sam, Keanu, David, and all of the wonderful folks back in the truck tonight here for this midweek clash between Clemson and Winthrop on ACC Network Extra.
There they are. There they are. Of course, in our A2, Toby behind us. And Kendall, I want you to know that they don't have a truck. Rick Bagby wouldn't spring for the truck. They've got like an old station wagon.
He's in the control room. Yeah, and
they've got an old station wagon.
Two control rooms up there. Yeah, so incredible stuff here. We're so used to saying truck with these.
Sure you are.
Games.
I mean,
and of course with the Clemson, with the facilities here at Clemson, multiple control rooms. I think it's so unique, the ability they can produce multiple games on multiple networks at the same time.
They do everything well.
I know I was here, it's been years ago, there was a baseball game being produced at the same time the lacrosse game was being produced. Just incredible work by the entire Clemson crew, and of course our ACC network crew tonight. Great camera work, great production crew. 3 balls and 1 strike to Peyton Bryden. And she is walked. Will take her base to start things off here in the top of the 7th inning.
That's not what you want to do to close out a ball game. Right now with this particular at-bat, Nickens, you want an out, any out, any kind of out.
Darren Nickens, so dangerous. She's been incredible for Winthrop again tonight. Coach Fuller made a really strong statement today. She has coached some really good hitters in her coaching career, and she made the comment that Darren Nickens may be the most talented hitter she has coached.
Well,
one time you hear a coach of Coach Fuller's stature say that, you kind of pause, and Nickens has been incredible for the Winthrop Eagles.
And from my observation tonight, you can see that she obviously has good hands and eyes.
Nickens does have an RBI tonight. We mentioned just top 5, top 10 in multiple stat categories in the Big South Conference. Grounds this one right back to Manis, who'll go to second with it to get the lead runner. And there's 1 out here in the top of the 7th inning.
Boy, there's nothing like a pitcher that can field her position, is there? Manis snagged the ball. She knew exactly what to do with it, and she was able to get the lead runner.
Let's get a second look at that heady play by Sierra Manis.
Right back to her, turned, opened up, got squared, made a good throw. One big out in the inning.
First pitch to Tia Beckham is low and away. Beckham's another big hitter for the Winthrop Eagles. She's got fast hands, a ton of power. And she had a slow start to the season for the Winthrop Eagles, but over her last 10 games coming into tonight had hit over 400 on the season on those last 10 games for the Eagles. Well, Beckham's going to be a pivotal part of the lineup for the Eagles to have a chance to win the Big South this year, no question.
I'm impressed with Winthrop. I've not seen a lot of their conference this year, but this is a well-coached team. Seems to be somewhat balanced.
Well, gets a piece of this one and fouls it back to the screen.
One of the best things they did in terms of rules in the sport of softball was put in the pitch clock.
Yeah, I agree. Beckham crowds this one to third. Can they turn two? No, they get the lead runner again. 2 down for the Tigers.
In both cases, the balls took big enough hops that you knew you wasn't going to turn two. But in both cases, good fielding and decisions get the lead runner. You see Bro right there. I mean, there was nothing to that for her.
So Beckham, the base runner at first, 2 outs. And Clemson trying to close things down here. And swing and a miss. It all comes down to Grayson Buckner of the Winthrop Eagles to try and keep this game alive.
And they're down to their last strike.
0-2. And just chopped foul behind the plate. This would give the Tigers their 17th victory of the season before getting back to ACC play on Friday afternoon.
Are you taking your Learjet home tonight?
Grounder hit to third. Bro makes the throw in plenty of time, and the Tigers win it. 7-3, 7 runs on 9 hits. They had the 3 errors early in the game, and they're able to fend off a stingy Winthrop club that had some bright spots tonight.
And they played hard. I mean, Clemson got tested tonight. We said it was a trap game, and it could have been one, but they did come up with enough offense, and when Manis got in the game, things got much simpler.
Clemson 7-0 all-time against the Winthrop Eagles. They win it here tonight, 7-3. For Kendall Lewis, Scott Whitlock, and the rest of our ACC Network production crew, this has been a presentation of ESPN. We say so long from Clemson, South Carolina.